We're live. Rachel, we're live and welcome. Welcome to another edition of Nutrition 101 with Dr. Julie Gilbert and Rachel Matthews. Hey, Rachel, how are you doing today?
Doing really, really well. Yeah, I'm doing great. Hopefully
Awesome.
everybody listening is doing well today as well. It's a rainy day in Oregon, but
Yeah,
such is
we
life.
need, that's our liquid sunshine that gives our grass its beautiful and grows all our beautiful produce. And so
That's so true.
we can be thankful for our for the Oregon rain.
Yeah.
Okay, Rachel, we are reading through Michael Pollan's Food Rules. And what chapter are we on?
25.
25. Tell us what
25.
chapter 25 says. Yeah.
Yeah, it's eat your colors. Really plain and simple.
Yeah.
We're talking about foods. The more colors, the better. The more diversity that we have. Eat the rainbow. Oh, that's so pretty. What is that?
You're showing it's a tea towel.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
my mom sent it to me.
That's perfect. That's a nice reminder in the kitchen, right? If you had it in the kitchen to say, hey, eat your colors.
Yeah. Now, why should we eat our colors? Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. I'll read what he says here. The colors of many vegetables reflect the different antioxidant phytochemicals they contain. Let me see if I can read all these. Anthocyanins, polyphenols, flavonoids, carotenoids. Many of these chemicals help prevent against chronic diseases, but each in a different way. So it's really important that we get a little bit of all the color categories because they all have a little of their own thing, which I think is very interesting.
Yeah, great. That's exactly right. So it's those phytochemicals, and phyto means plant, right? I think I'm right there. Phyto means plant.
Yes, I was thinking photo. Yeah, phyto. Phyto would be plant and then chemicals.
Yeah, it's the chemical that the plant makes. And the reason, correct me if I'm wrong, the reason that they make those chemicals is when they are touched by, they're kissed by the sun or in that sun, in the sunlight, then the plant makes a protective coating or protective chemicals to protect it from too much sun.
Yes.
They need sunlight to grow, but then they're going to make these phytochemicals or what was it? Pigments. Thank you. Pigment is what I was looking for to protect them from too much sun. And it turns out that those protective chemicals also protect us when we eat them.
Yes.
Ta-da! Isn't that awesome?
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Great.
A little thing I was going to mention that I forgot to tell you ahead of time is that so I'm diving into the world of sprouting.
Oh, okay.
Okay, very excited. I think next year I'll do microgreens, but right now I'm getting into sprouts. And for my birthday, I got a little sprouting kit.
Oh.
So, but I was reading about, we know broccoli is so amazing for us. That's going to be in that dark green category of the rainbow, right? And we know that the big thing. Oh gosh, remind me what's in broccoli that we love so much that's not in some of the other vegetables. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. Big long science word. Doesn't matter. It's really good for you though. Okay, it's in broccoli.
They're cruciferous vegetables. I know that. Yeah.
Yes, cruciferous. And I'm not sure if all the cruciferous vegetables have it or maybe just broccoli. But here's the cool thing, that if you're eating from the rainbow and you like sprouts, broccoli sprouts. So this is like a baby broccoli before, right? It's a little sprout before it turns into a broccoli. Has 100 times the fill in the blank
of that
chemical of this. Yeah. It's like I can see it in my head, but I can't say it out loud.
It's going to pop in there. It's going to pop in there. I know at any time. Yeah. That's right.
So eating broccoli, amazing. We're going to get a great source of this chemical, but then when we eat it, so that's another element of the rainbow that we're talking about. Not just broccoli, but broccoli sprouts, and not just greens and salad greens, but microgreens. These are a whole new thing that we can find in the grocery store now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some of those phytochemicals, and they do so many great things for us. For example, the purple fruits and vegetables have the pigments, the anthocyanins. And in addition, we think of them as antioxidants. What is that? Well, that means that they really turn down the free radical damage that is coming at us by living on planet Earth. We make these free radicals that we have to kind of pour, that can be inflammatory, and we want to, spray some water on them to put out the fire. And those chemicals kind of are like that water. And particularly but in addition to that, they also, the purple ones particularly, can increase HDL.
Yes.
And you may know of HDL as the good cholesterol. It's more complicated than that, but for our purposes, we're going to call it the good cholesterol. We need HDL to do all kinds of important functions in our body to keep us healthy. And those purple vegetables increase HDL. Well, what are those? Like when I mentioned to people purple carrots, like, there are purple carrots out there?
Yeah.
Purple carrots, right? What else? Actually, cabbage can be purple, right? Cauliflower can be purple. Well, there's eggplant, and then the berries and pomegranates, right? Pomegranates. Are kind of in season a little bit right now. Well, we have pomegranate bushes in all, my husband
in your yard?
and well, along our street, like 100 of them. So he goes, when he gets an idea, he just goes all out. He's all in.
I'll have to come pick some. Would you pick them? Is that what happens?
You pick them off the.
It's a bush or a tree.
Yeah, it's kind of a bush. Yeah,
okay.
I mean, maybe it can grow into a tree, but right now it's like a shrub. So
gotcha.
It's pretty cool. That's awesome. Those pomegranate seeds are just chock full of those anthocyanins. Yeah. Yes. So that makes the purpley ones, and then the yellow, orangey ones are more of the carotenoids, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And they have specific
Yeah.
superpowers, right?
Yeah. Good for the eyes, right? We always hear about the carotenoids.
Right. That's true.
Vitamin A.
Yes, but much more than that.
Right? Much more than that. Yeah. What are some other of the orange vegetables? I'm trying to think.
Well, like butternut squash.
Butternut squash.
That's what right. And well, it's not so much a vegetable. I think so someone showed me a persimmon.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And persimmons grow in the area. I don't know that I've eaten a persimmon, 56-year-old. I've never eaten a persimmon, but hey, I'm not going to shame myself. I'm going to say, hey, look at this new food that I found that I can try. And it's going to give me all this great stuff. So persimmons are more of a fruit, probably. They grow on the tree. But they're orange and have those. Beautiful phytochemicals in them, persimmons. And another yellow one is that I had never come across, but it grows here in Oregon. I have a friend who grows it on her tree. She had beautiful quince on her counter. And it's this fuzzy green, yellowish fruit. It's about as big as a softball, I'd say. It's fuzzy, and then you wash that up. And she had dried it, and we used it in a tea. It was absolutely delicious. So
that's a fruit though.
Fruit. Oh, you're thinking of vegetables.
Well, no, just all of the things. I just didn't know. I've never heard of that before, so I wasn't sure what that is.
That's a fruit. It's a fruit. That's a fruit. It grew in a tree. So these things that I mean, this is how fun when we get into like, what food helps my body, and then explore new foods. Don't feel bad that you've never, because I went in this little negative self-talk spiral where I made this new dish. I'll show it to you in a little bit. This butternut squash. I'm thinking, Julie, you're 56 years old. And I had to look up how to cut a butternut squash. I mean, it's okay. No shame, no guilt. It's exciting. It's a new thing, so I had all these pieces of my personality chiming in.
The cool thing about what you're saying, though, is that even if you never did it in your childhood and your parents never taught you how to do this, maybe there wasn't cooking at home, or maybe that wasn't a traditional food, we have the Google at most of our fingertips, right? We can search, you can use any browser you want, but we can search the internet. We have everything we need at our fingertips. So you're not sure how to cut a butternut squash? Look it up, and in 2 minutes, you can figure it out, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah, it's very,
It's so easy. It's so easy. So we don't have to be limited by some of these things. And it's, um, back in the day, we had to like go to the library, get a book on this. But now it's just all at our, I mean, we still can get books on things, but this kind of quick, I love the cooking ideas and the cooking tips and foods and what is a quince? What'd you call it? A quince?
Quince. I think it's called a quince. Yeah.
So all you need to do is look that up. What is a quince? And you're going to read all about it. And you're going to you can find the nutritional facts of it and how to eat it and when it's in season and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah. So cool. So I got to show you the rainbow of vegetables that I put. Well, and there's a little fruit in this dish that was so fun to make and so delicious to eat. So, and I got into the whole thing of it. And so it's all your autumn vegetables because I'm trying to eat seasonally and locally. And so it called for, here, can you see that, Rachel?
Yes. And so let me call it out for it. We've got Brussels sprouts, we've got red onions, butternut squash. What else is in there? I don't see.
Let's see. There's me cutting my wait a second. Hold on.
Lying.
Hold the phone here. Yeah, I'm showing it from. Yeah, I had. Here's me cutting up that butternut squash here.
Oh, what a pretty picture too.
Yeah, I posted this on our Instagram page. So yeah, so you're right. There were Brussels sprouts. There was that's the green. There was red onion. There was the orange is butternut squash, and I also put some sweet potato in there. And then I cut up some apple, and I left the peel on the apple, so I'd have that. And that was a red apple. And then I put some pecans in there for my healthy fat, and some dried cranberries. And then I roasted that in the oven. And look how gorgeous that looks.
It is beautiful. Yeah. It is so beautiful. And then tell everybody, because I already know about this. You shared this with me over the weekend. What did you put? What did you spice on it? Because this is a big deal.
Yeah, right. I put cinnamon in there and nutmeg.
Yeah.
Which really gave it this very fall festive flavor. Ooh, alliteration there. Fall festive flavor. Or festive fall flavor.
We're so creative here. I love it.
Yeah, and it was delicious. It was so good. Guess what I'm going to have tonight?
That again?
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So for everybody listening, you have to make this. And the reason I'm telling you that is because I made it after she sent me that picture. I was so inspired, and it was just as easy as that. We had it last night. Everybody in my family was raving about it, and we have leftovers. So guess what I'm eating tonight?
Yeah. That's awesome.
That again. Yeah. We didn't have any butternut squash, but I did have some Japanese sweet potatoes. So I chopped that in there, and those are, and I left the skin on, and those are a beautiful reddish purple on the outside. So that skin, that deep skin of that deep red purple. Also, I put apples in there, and I put pecans. The only other thing I think I did differently is I found a bag of pearl onions in my freezer. And I was like, toss those in.
Yeah.
Just, there we go. Everybody in the pot. Get in there.
Yeah. It's awesome.
So good.
Yeah. And delicious. And it has all those phytochemicals that are doing such great things in my body. So it was so much fun just to slow down and really enjoy looking at all the colors and the chopping of it and mixing those beautiful colors together, and then eating it and knowing how delicious and nutritious it is. And it was just so full and satisfying. So,
and they're pretty. There's something about something about cooking in the kitchen when something is so beautiful and you're putting it together. And if you take the moment to be mindful, right? And I love what you said, Dr. Gilbert, a minute ago. You said it was so fun to make. That's a perspective.
Yeah.
Right. You could just as easily have said, "This is terrible. I hate chopping. I'm bored. What a pain in my neck." But the perspective was, I'm making something beautiful. This is nutritious. Oh, it smells so good. This is fun. And that whole shift of identity, that whole shift of mindset changes everything about the kitchen. And cooking and the kitchen can go from being scary and unknown territory to my workshop, right? My beautiful workshop. So I want to point out that shift of mindset.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, and it can, you're right, it can go from being a chore, I have
Mhm.
to do this,
Yeah.
to, oh, look what I get to do today.
Yeah.
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 So cool. All right.
And
So we've already talked about what's for
what's
dinner.
for
Now
dinner?
that'll be a side dish. So, but it's, well, actually side dish, it's gonna fill most of my plate. All
Yeah.
right. And then I'll have my protein. I haven't figured out what that is. There might be some salmon on there, but that's going to fill most of my plate, and that's going to just be so. I'm already looking forward to it.
I know. I'm like, oh, is it time for dinner yet? Maybe I'll have it for lunch.
Right.
Yeah, so delicious. And so I'm just thinking for the real practical people out there listening, and they're wondering, okay, I've never made a thing like this before. Will you give us kind of like the bullet points of how of just like if you were to read off the instructions of a recipe, how do they do this? What's the oven temperature? Are
Right.
they all baked together for how long?
Yes. So right. So
Mhm.
I set my oven to 400 degrees, and I got my nice cutting knife. I use a big one. It's a butcher knife, I guess, is what it is. But and chef's knife, maybe, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And then I got my vegetable cutting board, because I have some
Mhm.
separate ones. And I lined up, I got everything out. I got all my ingredients together. So
Like
I
that.
had my butternut squash, which was the most challenging thing for me to cut, and my
Mhm.
onions, and my apple, and my sweet potato, my Brussels sprouts. And so I did, the Brussels sprouts are easy, and I rinsed them all.
Mhm.
And then I probably use, well, you want to use as much as your family's going to eat, right? And so I cut the ends off of the Brussels sprouts, and I just cut them in half. So
Mhm.
easy. Ends off in half in the bowl.
Yep.
And the onions are a nice slice and dice
Mhm.
and in the bowl. And then my apple, I I cored it, cut it in the bowl, just chunks, like
Yes.
half-inch chunks is really what I made.
Yes.
And and then, and the sweet potato is hard, so that's a challenge to cut. And so is the butternut squash. And I peeled the butternut squash and then cut it in about, well, half-inch slices, and then in half again, and made all those just chunks,
Yes.
and half-inch chunks. And then I did put, so it's all in the bowl, nice big bowl with all these beautiful different colored vegetables. And then I did put a little avocado oil, because I know it won't burn at 400 degrees. And I tossed that just a little bit, salt, cinnamon, and nutmeg. I stirred that up with a spoon, and then I put parchment on my a cookie tray, and I spread it all one layer thick on my cookie tray, and then I put that in the oven
Oh,
and roasted that for about 35 minutes. And then the last 5 minutes, that's when I put my dried cranberries and
okay.
pecans in there in the
I'm
last.
typing this up, by the way. I'm going to put it in the chat so that um, so that people will see this written out. So this was an interesting part, is that you put all the veggies, the veggies and the apple that was roasted ahead of time on parchment, and last you tossed in
Yeah,
the pecan and the cranberry. Is that
right.
right?
Hmm.
Oh, okay. So then you roasted for another how many minutes?
Oh, like 3 to 5 minutes. Yeah, not very long.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it was delicious. So it was really good.
Pecans. I'm typing this up. So roast, toss in cranberries and pecans, and roast another 5 minutes.
Yeah. Wow. Look at you go, girl.
Because this will be great. I mean, we've never really done this before, but
Mhm.
when I press send, I'm thinking it'll go into the
Yeah.
chat, the
Nice.
comments, and then when you post this,
Yeah.
it'll all be there. And I have a tip for cutting the okay, drizzle and toss with avocado oil, cinnamon, salt, nutmeg, roasted for 35 minutes on like a large cookie sheet type of
Yeah.
thing,
Right.
with parchment.
Yeah. It makes the cleanup so much easier.
It makes it so much easier. And you can use less oil. So
Yeah. Less oil when you use parchment. Right.
less oil. And I feel like it gives the veggies a little extra crisp. Like
Yeah.
I think there's something about the how they come out.
Right.
Um, So I will tell you that if you have a hard time with butternut squash,
Mhm.
you can either microwave it for about 5 minutes ahead of
Oh,
time,
good. Ooh.
or just toss it in the oven for 5 minutes, and it
Mhm.
softens it just
Softens
a
it.
bit because it's a cutting hazard. It's a chop your little
Oh,
fingers.
right. I know. Fingers beware. Right.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, I have a pair of those mandolin gloves, that they're made out of
Mhm.
Kevlar. So when I mandolin, I don't chop my fingers off. And I will oftentimes, when I'm cutting really difficult things to chop, I'll wear those gloves just in case. Because
Hey,
it's
that's
yeah, it's a good thing here.
mhm.
Okay, so I'm gonna send that. Hopefully that comes through.
Awesome.
And this is a great idea, everybody, for Thanksgiving, right?
Mhm.
Thanksgiving is around the corner. You can serve this. You can serve it like it is, or you can toss in some. I mean, I think that this would be a really good next day with some of the leftovers, some of the turkey
Mhm.
leftovers. You could
Oh, yeah.
turkey. You could toss that in there.
Yeah. Right. That sounds awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
Perfect. All right. Well, thanks so much for doing that, Rachel.
yeah,
And yeah, maybe, yeah, next time well, I'm going to figure out how to get a couple of these pictures to Facebook because it was, yeah, just so fun
yes,
and beautiful. So,
yeah. And if you
all right.
if you make this, maybe toss a picture into the chat.
Yeah. Yeah.
What
Toss
was
it.
some good
Yeah. If you
times?
make it, toss it in the chat. We'd love to see it.
Yes,
That's great. Okay.
that'd be great.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much. And until next time, yeah, enjoy your day and use the food rules because food rules. All right. All right. Bye bye.
Bye, everybody.